Tantor Audio, a division of recorded books, presents The Four Profound Weaves, a Birdverse book, by R.B. Lemberg, narrated by Boehmer. 1. Change. The Snake Surun Encampment. Uiziya Elali. I sat alone in my old goatskin tent, waiting, like I had for the last 40 years for Aunt Benesret to come back, waiting to inherit her loom and her craft, the mastery of the four profound weaves. I wasn't sure how long I'd been sitting like this, and it was dark in the tent. I no longer knew day from night. When the faded red woven tapestry at the entrance shifted aside, I drew my breath sharply, waiting for my aunt's thin, almost skeletal hand, but it was not Benesret. Of course not. Instead, one of my grandnieces stepped in, plump and full of life, bedecked in embroideries and circlets hammered with snakes. Her eyes shone like stars in the gloom. "Aunt Uiziya, don't sit here alone. Aunt Uiziya, you should come to the trading tent. Aunt Uiziya, bring some of these weaves." The girl's bejeweled hand motioned at the weavings that hung, heavy and lifeless, around my tent. "You might sell something, and if not, just show your craft, yes?" And just like a flutter of wind, she was gone. I kept sitting, but something had changed, as if some sliver of song entered my dead domain and withdrew. I had woven so much in those decades of waiting for my aunt to come back, but I wouldn't show them. None of them sang and yearned like hers did. None of them called the goddess bird down from the merciless heat of the sky. My weaves hung lifeless like bodies. Who would want them? Did I want them? I had not thought about that. Just sat among them, the guardian of all the unwanted, forgotten things. I turned 63 this year. I would sit like this until I sat among bones. My aunt could weave even from bones, but she never finished teaching me. The flap of my tent had not been fully closed, and now the riot of light and of sounds trickled in, only half real to my senses after a day spent in gloom. It was the commotion of trading, the rustling of cloth, the heavy sound of carpets unrolled for display, the bleating of goats. So much excitement in the encampment. The traders must be foreign. Show my craft? What craft? My life had stopped, like a wind, trapped in a fist. "I'll make a weaver out of you yet," my Aunt Benesret had said to me. "I'll teach you. I'll teach you. Just wait. I'll teach you the four profound weaves, so that you will inherit my loom." Where was she then? Where was she? The guardian snakes that circumnavigated the encampment all knew her, and I doubted she would be allowed to enter, but she could have tried at least. She could have sent me a letter. She could have sent an assassin, one of those she worked with, to kill the snakes and find me and bring me to her. The girl should have left me alone, but now I was angry and hot, and I wanted something that wasn't this endless wait. Show my craft, like it once was, all the promise of the desert and its secret weaves, endless future that never came to be. I was too large and too old for rash movements, but I dragged myself up, stiff in my joints from being still for so long. Hesitantly, I unlatched a large chest of leather in which I kept especially precious things. My late husband's wedding shirt, embroidered by my own hands before they wrinkled. A small ball of spider silk, spun by my daughter when she was a little girl. A note from the nameless man before he became nameless, given to me 40 years ago. Beneath the precious debris of my life, a rustle of sand. At last, I pulled the thin, rolled-up carpet hidden away these 40 years, shook it out. It was as long as I was tall, and slightly shorter in width. Sand grains made its threads, yellow and dun and shadow warmth. Thread bones peeked out of their hiding places in the weave. If I called on my magical deep names, I could make the carpet of sand float and fly all the way up to the guardian poles of the tent. Show your craft. You might even sell it. I have a carpet for sale, I said, to no one in particular. A carpet woven from sand, the second of the 4 profound weaves that Aunt Benesret taught me before she was exiled. This carpet, that I had never shown anyone else but her. I would sell it, give it away even. And then my yearning and my waiting would be done. And I would be done. The Nameless Man. Everybody seemed to have gone to the trading tents, and so I made my way there as well. I was hoping to see my grandchildren, always too busy these days to spend time with me. It was true that I did not want to be trading, but if someone was trading, Uiziya was sure to be there. The trading tents were open to the air, supported with carved poles to which the lightweight cloths of the roof attached festive woven ribbons. People milled under these awnings, mostly women, Surun weavers of all ages, each with a carpet or carpets for sale, and a few of their beloved snakes. The crowd parted as I entered, and in that moment my fears came true. 3 men stood in the middle of the trading tent. They had the gold rods of trade and gold coins sewn onto the trim of their red felt hats. The men's eyes shone. Their dark beards were groomed and oiled, and adorned with the tiniest bells that shook and jingled as they bent over the wares. I sensed powerful magic from all 3 of them. Their magic, multiple short, deep names, shone in their minds, each deep name like a flaring, spiky star. I was powerful myself, but the stranger's power was that of capturing, of imprisonment, of destruction, held tightly at bay. The vision made me recoil. These men, and it was always men, belonged to the ruler of Iyar, the collector. I had been living here for 3 months with my grandchildren among our friends, the snake Surun. Almost 3 months after my transformation, my ceremony of change. I thought I had finally broken free from Iyar. But now Iyar had come here. My Surun friends did not seem to feel any danger. They brought forth carpet after carpet, traditional indigo weaves embroidered with lions, with snakes, with birds, and more modern designs of dyed madder and bold geometric shapes. The Iyari traders examined the offerings one by one, yet chose nothing, their faces still with masked disgust. I wanted to shout at my friends to stop this trade. I wanted to run away, to escape, unseen. I wanted to fight, to strike at these men, to demand recompense for all the wrongs the collector inflicted upon me and mine 40 years ago. But then I saw my granddaughter. Iyar was dressed in her trading best, a matching shirt and voluminous pants of green and pink cloth that contrasted so beautifully with her smooth brown skin. Her fish earrings, fashioned of hammered silver, chimed in tune with her words. Her Surun friends, all girls of 19 and 20, milled around, giggling with excitement. "We offer a carpet of wind." Iyar all but sang. "A cloth woven of purest wind caught wandering over the desert. A treasure like this you will never see." The carpet she offered was small and exquisite, made from the tiniest movements of the air that come awake, breath after breath, as the dawn tints the desert pink and silver. The threads that made the carpet were delicate flurries of blue, not so much woven, but whispered into cloth, convinced to come together by the magic of deepness and laughter. I'd never seen this weave, but knew who made it, my youngest grandchild. Something like tears welled in my eyes, but I would not allow myself that emotion. I looked around instead, and yes, I saw Kimi, a child of 12, dancing between two guardian snakes. Kimi laughed, and a flurry of pink butterflies shook themselves loose from the carpet of wind. They sparkled in the air for a moment, then winked out of sight, delicate like my grandchild's magic. I remembered Uiziya's words, spoken to me before my ceremony. The first of the 4 profound weaves is woven from wind. It signifies change. One of the emissaries leaned forward over Kimi's carpet. He pressed a finger to the carpet, and a butterfly rose from it, its wings so delicate I could barely discern the movement of pink against the Iyari man's palm. "What price for this?" Why did Iyar deal with these men? What was the need, the necessity? We were well supplied from our previous trades. We were doing well and could refuse any trade, especially such a troubling one. What was she doing? I spoke in my native Khana. "This carpet is not for sale." "Yes, it is," Iyar said stubbornly. I grabbed her by the arm, dragged her out from under the awning, carpet and all. She glared at me, defiant, and I did my best to ignore it. "What are you doing?" "Trading. I'm trading, grandfather. That thing I trained for all my life. You trained me. Before you went through your change." I grimaced. "This is for the collector. We did not leave Iyar to trade with him. We left Iyar to never see him again." "This is Kimi's first carpet. They wove completely alone," Iyar said. "Their first trade. Don't spoil it, grandfather, please." "First trade?" I shouldn't have gotten so angry, so bitter. The collector imprisoned your grandmother, killed her. You want Kimi's first trade to be to this man? She propped her fists at her waist and glared at me, half angry, half exasperated. "And yours wasn't? Your first trade, your second, your third? The weave of song, the greatest carpet ever woven. You sold it to the collector. But there was a reason. We are traders, grandfather. Khana women trade. Shouldn't you go sit with the men?" It would have been better if she'd slapped me. I turned away. She ran after me, perhaps not wanting to wound me after the spear of her words had already made its way through my chest. "I am sorry, grandfather. I did not mean—" I waited, for a brief moment, for her to say what she meant, but she looked confused. Not because she couldn't find a way to speak her mind, I thought, but because my existence, the change, had confused her. Had confused and hurt every Khana person who loved me, or so I thought to myself. I had thought about it for 40 years before I finally changed my body. I thought how my people judged me, how my lovers, Bashri, had judged me, how my grandchildren judged me, except perhaps Kimi. who did not know how to judge. 40 years. Even in a woman's body, I wanted so desperately to be a man. I was a man. And now, a month after my change, in a man's body at last, I did not know how to stop flinching from their judgment. At best, their confusion. Iyar loved me, I knew, but her tongue kept slipping. It's fine. It wasn't. But I did not want to talk any more. It hurt too much to talk again and again about the same thing. So I walked away. Something made me look back. Iyar remained standing by the trading tent, the cloth of winds tucked clumsily under her arm. A stray butterfly followed me, pink and translucent. I reached out to it, but it slipped through my fingers into the air. Uiziya Ilali. Everybody seemed to be in the trading tents, but I dragged my feet, and not just because of the pain from sitting still for so long. The encampment felt empty. The carpet of sand on my shoulder whispered into my ear of the wide open spaces where I wanted and dreaded to go. It was thin, almost weightless, as if it wanted to fly away from my shoulder. I tried to imagine what I would do next after I traded the carpet away. Sell my tent and my weavings and move to some other encampment where nobody knew me and nobody gossiped. Walk out into the desert without any water and wait for the goddess bird to come for my soul. Go look for that thing that I dreaded. Go back to my tent and sit once again. I stepped closer and closer, my resolve liquefying like sweat, when I saw my old acquaintance, the nameless man. He was all but running away from the tents, his lighter brown face a grimace of anger, anger I'd come to recognize in him. Seeing me, he stopped and averted his gaze. "What's going on?" I asked. "Nothing." A thin green snake slithered in the dusk between us, as if drawing a boundary I should not cross. I stepped right over it. "So what is going on?" I had a habit of repeating a question until it was answered. "Go see for yourself," he said. "Trading is a woman's business, I'm told." "Is it Iyar again? Telling you to go sit with the men?" "Yes. But there's more. They are selling Kimi's weave." He spoke bitterly, like the one you'd all woven for my transformation. But Kimi made it alone, out of joy and wind and these butterflies. I had woven a carpet of change for myself at the dawn of my life. "I will teach you to weave from wind," my aunt had said to me then. "The first mystery of the ever-changing desert, a weave of change, the first of the 4 profound weaves I will teach you until you are ready to put together my loom." The nameless man spoke on, his voice shaking with the speed and vehemence of his feeling. "My grandchild's first carpet, first trade, to be traded to the collector, to be held by the collector's hands, and they all think it's nothing, joyful even, joyful." He took a deep breath, spoke a bit slower. "What joy is there in trading the cloth of change to a man who will never change? The collector will lock this cloth in his coffers, away from all eyes but his, away from the people who would use it, who need it themselves to change." I sighed. Kimi doesn't want to change yet. "Then she should. He should. They should." The nameless man waved his hand in exasperation. "Kimi should keep the cloth and transform already." "Your grandchild hasn't chosen whether to transform," I said patiently. as I had many times before. It may never matter to them to go through the change in the body. It is enough that they would weave. I was a good listener, if nothing else. But this I had listened to over and over. The nameless man's people, the Khana, did not recognize in-betweeners. The nameless man's people did not recognize people like him either. Instead, they insisted that the shape of one's body determined one's fate. The Khana are not the only people in the world who make up these rules and these freedoms. The nameless man waved his hand in the air again, as if to shoo a stray butterfly. Then he eyed me with a bit more attentiveness. You, too, bring a carpet to the tent? As you see. I wanted him to ask me about the carpet. I wanted him to ask me why. I wanted to tell him then of my endless waiting, and how I wanted it to be over. I was a good listener. But now I wanted him to listen as I told him about Aunt Benesret. After he came back to us, after 40 years away, he kept asking about Benesret, and everybody shushed him because in our encampment we did not say her name. But he asked me nothing, just squinted at my carpet and said, "You shouldn't sell it either." How like a man to tell me what I should and shouldn't do. Half exasperation, half compliment in acknowledgment of his change. The words flew out of my mouth before I knew it. He grimaced bitterly. "That's right. I'll just go sit with the men, then." Then he walked past me, head drawn into his shoulders. The nameless man. I walked to where my feet took me, to the outskirts of the encampment. I thought Uiziya might follow me, but she didn't. I was on my own, and perhaps that was best. After my transformation, I tried sitting with the Surun men. They had shown me how to speak Surun like a man, and how to move, how to shave my face Surun style. They were friends and good people, but I did not want to go much deeper into their ways. I was no warrior. I could fight when I needed, but that was not what being a man meant to me. I wasn't Surun. I was Khana. Our people lived in Iyar, but we weren't Iyari. Behind the walls of our quarter, walled off from the rest of the city by royal decrees, the Khana lived separate lives, and in the Khana quarter, women and men lived separate lives yet again, divided from each other by an inner wall. Our men were scholars, not warriors. Scholars and makers of magical automata for the utter glory of Bird and her hidden brother, the singer Kimri. As a child, I would wake up in darkness to stand under the white walls of the men's inner quarter where I wasn't allowed, waiting for our men to sing the dawn song to bring the sibling gods closer, and with them the dawn. But now I was here, far east and away from Iyar, in the Great Burri Desert. It was here, at this very place, in this dust, on the outskirts of the Snake Surun encampment, I had stood in my cloth made of winds, the weave of transformation my friends and my grandchildren had woven for me out of love. I'd lifted my arms to the sky, and the sandbirds had come to me, sent to me by the goddess Bird and summoned by the cloth of winds. They were birds of bright fire that fell from the sky and cocooned me until I could see and hear nothing, except the warmth and the feathers enveloping me, and the threads of the wind singing each to each until my whole skin was ignited by the sun, my body changing and changed by the malleable flame. And when I was done, I sang. I sang as the wind and the feathers dissolved into sand under my feet. I sang because my transformation was complete. I sang the dawn song, the sacred melody that the men of my people sing, standing on the roof of the men's quarter every morning. Since then, I had not sung again. As it had for decades before, the sacred melody sat like a lump in my throat, and I could neither voice it nor swallow it. I did not know how much time passed, but when I lifted my gaze from the sand where I knelt, I saw Uiziya, the dun-colored carpet still over her shoulder. Uiziya was a friend from earlier days when I was young and full of hope still. But now I did not know her that well. She was always at gatherings, weaving with the others, weaving even my own cloth of winds, preparing for my transformation, but she did not say much. She was Benesret's niece, and I asked about Benesret, but the others were wary of Uiziya speaking. Every time she opened her mouth to speak of her aunt, she was shushed. Now she came closer. Her shadow, broad and round, fell over me, sheltering me from the glare of the sky. The carpet she carried over her shoulder stirred, whispering in a language I did not understand. "Why did you come back here?" she asked. I looked away. "You would not understand." Uiziya shrugged. "I think I do. It is not hard to be a changer among my people. I know that it is not true everywhere, but in the Great Burri Desert, changing your body to match your heart is not a thing to bleed your eyes over." "It is for me." Of course she would say this. She grew up here, the vast Burri Desert ruled by the old royal who was a changer themselves and welcomed all changers. I was from Iyar. "I know it is hard for you. Hard." Uiziya stretched out a hand, but I made no motion or word to welcome her touch, and she pulled back. "If I was from the desert," I said, "Benesret would weave my cloth of transformation then and there, when I saw her first, when I was 24 and she was 40, and wise and splendid under the ancient discolored weavings in her tent." "If you were from the desert," echoed Uiziya, "you would not need Benesret. You would have the cloth woven for you by family, if any were gifted enough. Or you would travel southeast to the old royal's capital and transform at the Sandbird Festival. You would make the transformation as a youth, and go sit with the men, and go speak with the men, and go guard with the men, and sire children as a man, and raise children as a man, and think no more these noisy, agitated thoughts of yours." I did not want to think my noisy, agitated thoughts, but they sat better with me than the matter-of-fact, "Everything is perfectly commonplace about a swarm of sandbirds cocooning your body and helping you transform, and then you just go sit with the men" conversation I'd had with so many Surunya people. I was not Surunya. I was not from the desert at all. As a Khana person from Iyar, I did not fit. Among women, among men. Even far away from home, with only myself for company, I did not fit. I did not want to wound her, but I did not know how to talk to anyone anymore. Forgive me. I think you would understand better if you were a changer." She lowered herself down, slowly, as if the movements pained her until she sat by my side. I, too, am a changer.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?